Hello, welcome to the Fix It Frank 412 YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue our series on the 2014 Ford Raptor, and we're going to change the transfer case fluid. I have pulled out the Raptor supplement guide and the transfer case lubricant. It's saying 1.4 to 1.5 liters of Motorcraft transfer case fluid, and the part number on that is XL-12 in the United States. So I've gone ahead and purchased 2 quarts. The bottles will differ a little bit, but these are what these ones look like that I purchased. We're going to go ahead and get this change started. So to do this first, I'm not going to jack the vehicle up because I have enough room underneath here. But the first thing that's going to be in our way is this skid plate. There's 2 13mm bolts at the front and 2 13mm bolts over on the driver's side frame rail. So gonna get this out of the way first. On the actual transfer case itself, we have 2 plugs. We have a fill plug and a drain plug. So the vehicle is on generally level right now. I'm gonna go ahead and once I get the plate off, because you can see this drain plug is right over top of the plate, so we'll make a mess if we don't do that. I'm gonna go ahead, once I get this skid plate off, we're gonna take out the drain plug hole first, because I'm just curious if anything is gonna come out of there. That is really where it should be filled until, so nothing really should come out of here, if not maybe just a dribble. And then we will crack open the drain plug and let out the fluid that is in there. I'm gonna go ahead and pause you guys. We'll come back here in a second. I'm gonna go ahead and get this skid plate out of the way, and we'll reconvene when I have these plugs that take these plugs out of the actual transfer case. Okay, I went ahead and got us some light here. I noticed it was a little bit dark on the last shot. I went ahead and got the skid plate off and slid it back there. Again, 4 13mm bolts. It was pretty easy. I'm now going to take out this top fill plug. Like I said, nothing really should come out of there. It might dribble a little bit. And then after that, I will take out this bottom plug. I am going to make sure I set these aside so I know which one's which. They should be the same, but I don't want to. I noticed prior to taking it out, I do notice that this plug looks like it's in a little further, and this plug looks like it's sticking out a bit further. So this one I can only see like 1 thread. This one I can see about 3. So just going to note that when I'm going back in, I don't want to go too hard back in. I am going to try to take these out with my cordless impact, and if it doesn't take them out, then I'll go ahead and try to do it by hand. So let me get you guys set up here. Go ahead and try to see. Oh, I got the wrong size. Bear with me a second. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that. I didn't realize this was a 3/8 inch drive. I thought it was a 1/2 inch drive, so I had to get the right size. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and take this fill plug out first. Okay, and just as I expected, nothing came out of there. That was kind of, that was what I expected. The back of the plug looks nice and clean. There's a little bit of wetness on there. I drove this a little bit earlier today, but it's been sitting for a few hours. Okay, now I am going to, and you can actually see, I just noticed this now, on the actual transfer case itself, you can see this says fill next to it, and this says drain. So I'm going to go ahead now and get this drain plug out. Okay, and I don't know how far this is going to shoot out. Okay. You can see there, it looks pretty dark. But it still has some color to it. It looks almost a little, I'm colorblind, but it looks a little reddish. So I'm going to go ahead and set that plug separate. And we'll let this drain a little bit. I may even jack up, the vehicle's generally on level, but I may jack up the front of the vehicle just a hair to see if we can get any more of that towards the back, just because I want to try to get as much of this out as possible. I will we'll let this drain for a little bit. I don't want to bore you guys, and we'll come back when it's drained and we'll go through the fill procedure. Okay, so I've gone ahead and let this drain some. I did jack up the front end a little bit. Put the jack into the front behind the one skid plate where it mounts up to that brace that runs across. And we've let it drain for about probably 20 minutes or so. And it's down to a very slow drip. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up the plug. So I did wipe it off, the plug that I took out of the drain hole. Gonna go ahead and get it started here by hand. Once it's started, I'm gonna install it using a socket set. I don't want to kill it with the impact. So it does look like, based on how that was just going, it does look like you do want to kind of pay attention to how much was sticking out prior to taking it out, because it did seem like almost seems like there's some like thread tape on here, and it looked like as I was tightening it that thread tape was starting to kind of come up. So I knew that at that point I had gone as far as it was in before, and just a little bit past, but it did seem like it was getting snug. For sure, but you definitely don't want to over tighten this or strip it out. So I kind of just snugged it up. I'm not going to kill it. I might give it one more little snug there, and I think that we're good. Okay, I'm just going to wipe any residual fluid there. Okay, now I'm actually gonna, if I look at the transfer case, I actually put a level on the frame, and the truck itself on the frame is not quite level right now, but if you look at the transfer case, it actually leans back a little bit. So the transfer case, I did kind of try to just eye up and put a level. I don't think the transfer case is level currently, so I am gonna let the front end down a little bit. I might leave it a little bit on the jack stand though, so I'm gonna at least let it down a little bit. Try to get it level at least with the eye. Try to maybe put a level here on the bottom and see if I can get it as level as possible before we fill it, because we don't want it leaning too far back because we won't have enough fluid in it. We don't want it leaning too far forward because we may overfill it. Again, it's supposed to take 1.4 to 1.5 liters, so I think that's going to be less than the 2 quarts that we've purchased. So let me go ahead and get this level, and we'll get back here in a second. Okay, so I went ahead and tightened that up, let the vehicle down some, and I think I have the transfer case level. I think honestly the jack's not really doing much on the front anymore, and I do think the transfer case is pretty level now. I'll judge that based on how much fluid this takes. As long as I get around 1.5 quarts in here, I'm going to consider it good. If for some reason it wants to take less and it starts coming out of here, I may lower the vehicle down a little bit and add a little bit extra. So how I'm going to fill this, these bottles, the new bottles, did not come with like a squeezy top. Some of them will come with like almost like a nipple on the top where you can kind of squeeze it sideways and get it in there. But I bought this fluid transfer pump just from Harbor Freight for about $5. So I'm going to insert, there's an arrow on here, I'm going to insert this end into the transfer case and then insert this end into the bottle and just pump the fluid in there, and we should get through this whole quart and about a half of another quart before it starts to come out of this fill hole. Once you see it dribble out of this fill hole, that's when it's supposed to be full. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'll come back here to wrap up and conclude here in a moment. Okay, so I did go ahead and get it filled with my like suction pump, and it did take just about 1.6 quarts. I pumped one last pump in there, and then most of that came out. So as soon as it came out of here, I did let it drip for a few minutes, and then I did put the plug back in. So it did take exactly what the owner's manual said, just a little bit over 1.5 quarts. Went ahead, put this in here, kind of same deal. You can see this one's in not as far. This one's in further. I remember I looked at that prior to removal, so kind of put this one in till it was snug, and then till I could kind of tell that I was just going a hair past where it was before. So that is now tight. I'm going to go ahead now and get the skid plate back on, and then we are done. I did this with 75-ish thousand miles. I'm not sure what Ford calls for as the interval, but I'm planning on doing all the fluids on this since I just purchased this recently. So make sure you check out my other videos. So far, I've also done the Roush supercharger fluid, and we're going to very shortly be doing the front differential, rear differential, as well as the transmission. So please check out my other videos. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please like and subscribe and thumbs up. That will all help me with building my YouTube channel, and I appreciate everyone for watching. Thanks. Bye.